Zooms, I hate, honestly.
Hate them too.
Yeah, because it's like you can't
get a vibe.
Yeah, you can't get a vibe, and you like can't connect with the person, and I just look much better in person.
Same. Yeah.
I mean, I look good over Zoom.
Yeah. Well, I use the filter, so I actually.
Well, you probably need to use a filter.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's.
So it's either 1 hour or 2 hours.
That's right. Those are your options.
I don't know. I think we're gonna have to just see.
We're just gonna see.
You know what I mean? Because like, first of all, I'd like to start on July 22nd, 1980, when I was born.
Great. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, hi. You're listening to Service from Hell, a podcast featuring people that are currently in customer service positions or the lucky few that got out, and all of the good, bad, and infinitely irritating things that go along with that work. I'm actor and writer Kate Gaffney, and am uniquely qualified to discuss this, as I used to work at a very busy and very popular comedy club in Los Angeles, and at least one of you listening right now has probably grabbed me and told me you were ready to order when I was running around like a crazy person. So, let's eat. I'd like to welcome our guest, LA-based film composer, music producer, podcast host, and creative director, Joanna Katcher. Her scores can be heard on various award-winning films and shows, including Emmy winner Garbage Time with Katie Nolan. She's also the founder and creative director of Nice Manners, a boutique audio post-production house in Los Angeles. Joanna is the first guest we've had on that also had some philanthropy in her professional background by co-founding Amplify LA. I'm making her sound nicer than she is. I better know Joanna through mutual friends where we watched a show about dead dads together, and I sobbed while she made fun of me, then offered me a hug. So our relentless sarcasm joined us, and now we are here today after she bullied me into having her on the show because I just kept refusing, and she was like, please put me on, and I was like, fine. So Joanna, tell us how you came up with music so quickly, what drew you into composing, what's your favorite part of entertainment? Tell us all the things. Hi, Joanna.
Jesus Christ. How am I supposed to fucking compete with that? You're like, ba-da-beep-ba-ba-doo-ba-boo. So you want me to tell you how I came up with music so quickly?
Yeah.
For what?
For literally anything. Like, if you have a deadline.
Kate, look. Look, Kate, it's a gift.
Oh, God.
You know, you get it from the Lord. Honestly, I don't know. Every time I start, it is like staring at a blank Word document, and I'm whisked right back to high school or any. I'm just like,
help.
Well, I guess in 2 hours something will be here. Maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so honest.
Literally every single time, it's like I'm starting from scratch. You know, like, yeah, like I've done it. Sure. And like it tends to work out mostly, but like, I don't know. You know, it's just. That's the truth of it.
So you really, like, every time you're given a new project, you're like, oh, we are really at ground zero.
We're really at ground zero. I mean, sometimes I get lucky and either the temp score is like really like in my wheelhouse, or I can, if the director is like, I'd love to get your thoughts. I'm like, yeah, cool. And then I just steer them right to a direction where I'm just like, I know I can knock it out of the park, you know? No, usually, honestly, if people prep their projects, they do a lot of pre-production and spend time with their editor and put in temp cues. That is like the most helpful thing. And then I can like get a vibe. Like I can't read music and I play everything by ear. And like that's the way that I think a lot of composers kind of, I have to say, like, film. Yeah. No, it's like, cool. Yeah. Pick like the composer everyone knows. You know what I mean? Have you heard of Smith? Just kidding. There's no Smith. There's probably a Smith, honestly. But yeah, so if I hear stuff, it's really helpful. And then I can kind of like get into it. And then I'll honestly, thank you so much for asking me about my creative process. Basically, if I like have an 8-hour day, I'll dick around for 7 hours, like kind of thinking about what I'm supposed to do. And then like physically sit down and do, because my brain simply will not work any other way. Yeah. Unless there's a deadline. And then it's like, giddy up, bitch, you know? That's how you have to do it.
I've heard that, though, from so many people that do a type of entertainment that I don't understand. And I've heard that from like PAs and set decorators and all these people who are like, short of having a deadline, I will wander around my house. I'll clean my house. I'll do this, that, and the other. Like, that's just the way it goes.
I think also, like, if I'm lucky enough to get music or references like in a bit in advance, I'll listen to them and then I'll go do something else for a couple days and they'll be like marinating a little bit if I'm lucky. If my brain decides to play along. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't have any control over that thing. Are you kidding me?
What would happen if you steer a director, say worst case scenario, you steer the director in a certain way and you're like, boom, it's going to be sprinkly sounds. I don't know what the hell how you guys talk.
I love sprinkly sounds.
Sprinkly sounds. Mm-hmm. And the director's like, no, I want violent, aggressive rock or whatever. Can you pivot in a way where you're like, okay, I guess violent, aggressive rock it is?
Yeah.
Well, damn, girl.
Yeah. And also like I'm lucky in that I have a sea of friends who are incredibly talented musicians with whom I can collaborate on things like, like I can play guitar in the sense that like I can play a bar chord and like dick around a little bit, but like I have friends who just absolutely shred. And so I can, if there's a budget, I can hire them to, I'll be like, can you be like, and they'll be like, okay, cool. And then they'll just do it on a guitar.
That's crazy.
So it's nice. It can be collaborative. I don't know if I should say that out loud.
Yeah, well, would you say that they're doing the heavy lifting though? For being
I'd
honest
say
with
I've
ourselves?
never actually written a score in my
life.
life.
There you go. Good for you.
Yeah.
At least for being honest.
Well,
okay. Backwards though, real quick. So, what drew you to composing over any other form of entertainment, and why entertainment at all?
Well, I think that's a weighted question, isn't it, Kate? Because is it over any other form of entertainment? I'd actually like to step outside right now. Well, I have the same childhood story that every child has, which is that you're listening to and watching Field of Dreams starring Kevin Costner, scored by James Horner, and you don't know what a film score soundtrack is, and so you get your mini tape recorder and you record it while it's playing, and then you race to the other side of the house and then plunk it out on the piano. And then your little heart is ablaze, and then that's all you can think about for the rest of your life.
Literally everyone's story. It's such a boring presentation.
It's every young boy's dream.
I do actually love that. Wait, why Field of Dreams? Like, why that over everything else?
I don't know. I think it was just like, it was probably what I was consuming like at the time. And for whatever reason, that score resonated with me. And then James Horner, who scored that, became my favorite composer. R.I.P. Jimmy Horner. Also, Titanic, he scored. You might have heard of it.
What?
But yeah, it's about a fucking submarine that sinks. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I also get really like laser focused on stuff. And so I was like obsessed. Like I would just like sort of freestyle in the style of James Horner at the piano during that time based on the music from that film.
That's so cool.
And then I was probably like 11, maybe.
Did you ever get to meet him or work with him?
No, but weirdly, I did meet someone named Ian Underwood who was a collaborator of his, and we kind of like had like composer lessons. I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. And he was very serious. He was like, "All right, tell me what scores you have, and tell me." And I was just like, "I don't know. I got a Field of Dreams, and like I'm not really sure." And he's like, "You simply must know what you have." And I was like, "I think I might be in the wrong place. I am." Fucking 15, gay.
I'm out of my depth here.
Yeah, I am not ready to be serious at all. And I haven't been since. So
that's good. Well, at least you're failing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that drew you. So you just music in general. Keep coughing though. That's good audio.
Yeah, do you like that?
Yeah, I do. So just why music in general though? Because you're moderately funny. Yeah. So you could do other things. So why music?
That is a compliment, and that was caught right on tape.
I did ain't it.
I music is like, that's my whole, up until like, I would say moving to LA, really. Like I was obsessed with SNL as a kid, like obsessed with like Kids in the Hall and all kinds of like sketch comedy shows and stuff. And it was just fun, but I never ever considered like doing it really. But music was just like, my folks took me to piano lessons when I was 3, and
when you were 3, do you have the dexterity to play piano at 3? You did.
You don't even know what these hands can do, Kate Gaffney.
Okay, Mozart.
Honestly.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like my dad's nickname for me was Noise Machine, just because I was constantly making noise, really. And he told me that like if I was sick or there was something wrong, they would know because I would be very quiet, and they were like, let's whisk her immediately to the emergency room because she's going to perish pretty soon. Yeah, it was just always, and it was just like, I was just like so inspired always. Like I just wanted to learn every instrument. Like another young boy's dream, I could not wait to be in beginning band when I was in 5th grade. Because in 6th grade, you can be in band. And in 5th grade, it's just like the 6th graders would come by and they perform. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Now that's cool. You know what I mean?
How could you do band though if you couldn't read music? So you literally would just hear it played?
It's a great question. Great question.
You're gonna get a lot of those.
Yeah. I could get by, but really I'm more just, I would just kind of listen to it and then play it back.
Crazy skill, Joanna. That's really, you're underselling it. That's hard.
Well, I just like, if any musicians are listening to this, they'll be like, yeah, I can fucking do it. Like, I don't have perfect pitch, you know what I mean? But like, if you're like, here's a C and I want you to sing like, a major third over it, I can do that. Like, I have perfect relative pitch, but like, I can't just like pick a C out of the,
Sure.
So in the grand scheme of like the musicians of the world, it's like, great. Yeah, most people can play by ear, you know?
But I hate it when really talented people do this. Like, I get what you're doing. I get it. Because
it's not a bit. I'm just saying.
No, I know it's not a bit. No, I know it's so genuine. But I truly, like, you're clearly enormously talented in this arena. And so this is what y'all do. You're like, well, I'm not Michael Phelps swimming in the pool. So like
I swim better than,
okay,
I'm much better than Phelps.
But the laps that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, as far as composers go, okay, I mean, I've compared you to Mozart, so whatever.
Thank
but like,
you.
I just don't, I guess it's hard to know that what you have is unique because it's just your story.
Yeah.
But
no,
it is
I get what you're
unique.
saying. I feel lucky. I feel really lucky that I can play by ear. It's like the single skill that has like gotten me through, basically.
Yeah.
You know, if I couldn't, I'd be severely fucked. I wouldn't be doing this, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess I just mean that I think pretty much everybody with whom I collaborate and my friends who are musicians, most of us can play by ear.
That's
and
crazy.
not very many of us can read music, including music majors like myself who went through music theory in college, and like conservatory kids who did that stuff. Like, they just kind of couldn't. It's weird.
Well, at least you don't have a master's from NYU. Like, that would be crazy if you
That
did.
would be
That would
embarrassing.
Be like
That would
level.
be embarrassing.
Yeah, good thing you don't.
It is. And if I did, let me tell you what it would get me. Nothing. It is incredibly useless. Love you, NYU. If I did.
Love that debt if you did.
If I did, yeah.
But good thing that's not true. Okay, so tell us about Nice Manners and Amplify LA. I know those are two wildly different things, but start with Nice Manners.
Okay, Nice Manners is my little baby audio post-production company.
Oh, small.
It's very small. It's about the size of a nickel. And but there's every blue moon I'll get like a feature in. Like last year I mixed this feature called Peekaboo, which was about Peekaboo Street, that aired on, I think it was on NBC, and it was produced by like the Olympic Channel, like, and Kennedy Marshall, whatever.
For people who don't know, she's a professional skier, right? Peekaboo?
Yes. Yes.
Real
And
name.
And Peekaboo Street, yeah. Also, like, I remember her from when I was younger, and anyway. So like every now and again, and they're usually like docs and stuff, but for the most part, it's like mixing shows and commercials and promos and shit like that.
Okay.
And it's me and a little, I was going to say grove. What do you call it? A little collection of freelancers.
Grove. No,
you got to say
Grove.
freelancers.
You're crows now. I love it. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
You and your crow friends freelance together.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We freelance together. Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, because I got into it because I was like, well, like, as you mentioned, when I was at NYU, I was like, I'm going to need a job. Otherwise, this is going to
suck.
Yeah. So basically, like, after interning and assisting, I ended up like starting work at this post house. And then that's like the trajectory that it took. All the while I was like, all right, cool. This is going to lead to film scoring, though, for sure. Because I'm around studios and around audio equipment. And like, I'm sure that this is going to. Here's the thing. It doesn't, and it won't. It's just like, if you're seen as like a post mixer, like that's what you are.
This is what I hate about entertainment. You can only be a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't even like ponies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, murder them all. You're a crow. You could peck their eyes out.
Absolutely, I could. Mo would
that's
yell at
hard.
me right now because I'm hitting. She's always like, "Stop hitting your fucking knee," and I'm just
Well,
like,
you can hit your knee, but if you do the one more time in the mic, I may just leave.
It is like, I don't know. Is it like a nervous tick?
Yes.
I do it all the time in
Do you, really?
in the
Do you
pod.
edit it out for yourself for your
Absolutely,
podcast?
yeah.
I'm gonna have to do this for you. You're making this a nightmare.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. Okay, so you have a post-production company.
Yeah.
So that's you and your crows together.
Mm-hmm.
So how can people do you just get people just dropping projects into your lap, being like, hey, we've heard of you, or how does that work?
Yeah. Now it's like word of mouth, just because A, people are nice, and B, I've worked with, like I was saying, our mutual friend Megan from NBC has then introduced other producers and whatever.
Yeah. Former guest of the podcast, Megan Deneen. Go listen to her episode. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a dreamboat. But yeah, it's very fucking lucky in that way. it was not always like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It takes a while. How long before you were like, this can float itself?
When I started it, I had been working with one like kind of small commercial agency in New York, and we'd been doing a ton of work together, and we were really close friends. And I was like, "Listen, I think I'm going to strike out on my own. Would you come with your old pal Joe?" And they were like, "Yeah, totally." And they were loyal, and like they made me for like the first year or so, basically, and they kind of kept me afloat. And then slowly, little by little, I started getting other work. But it was probably like a year and a half before listen, I don't want to be like, I don't have to worry about it at all. But it was just,
before it
like
hit its stride a bit.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then tell people about Amplify LA.
Oh, Amplify LA was something that my friends Pete, Lilia, Royce, and Emma started with myself. And it was it's not active so much now, but it was kind of like the beginning of the pandemic, kind of at the height of the BLM movement. We were going to a lot of protests and saw that no one could really hear shit. Like there were megaphones, but like the protest has gotten so large that it just didn't cover enough. So we started providing like, basically it looked like a little like karaoke system, a little rolly thing. That's how it started. And then we started getting people to like donate speakers to us, and like Blue Microphones started giving us shit. And so we were able to like give groups and community leaders, people of color, their own system so they could like, do their events and stuff without us having to be there. And it became like, yeah, it was great, helpful, I think. Hopefully.
I want to be clear though, like it doesn't make you a good person. It's a thing that probably other people did the heavy lifting on.
I know.
And
that.
then, okay, cool. I just wanted to be clear. Okay, great.
I also want to be clear when I was just like, it was helpful, and it didn't. I mean, like, honestly, it was helpful to the five of us mostly because we were in. we wanted to hear what everyone was saying, and also like we were all, I think, in varying states of pits of depression at that time, and
relatable.
It was really nice to be able to be involved in like actually do something
purposeful.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. Now you told on yourself. I'm glad we're clear.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay, so get us up to today. So you run a production house studio. We're never getting through this.
Kate, look into my eye.
I won't do it. So you run a production studio.
Yeah.
You also, are you attached to anything else, or is it truly your own business is how people find you?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I work with a company in Portland called Marmoset. They're fucking great. They do a lot of like licensing of pre-existing tracks, and they also are a label, and they also do like, original music and stuff like that. So every now and again I'll do like a original music demo for them, but I have like a music project that I started with them called Charm School, that is basically like kind of like a weird like hip hop like MIA kind of vibe thing, and also just strange. Basically like anything you would hear on like the Broad City soundtrack is kind of like a big inspiration for it. So yeah, but aside from that, yeah, it's the film score stuff is just me and Nice Manners.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so I also buried the lead. I mentioned that you have a podcast, and I feel like we should hear about the funnier co-host that you have with you, who does the heavy lifting there as well.
Yeah. So the funnier, that was for you.
God,
but I tried. I did.
America. God bless America.
I was trying to not do it.
I'm straight up leaving him in.
Would you like to? Mo Welch is the funnier person, to be sure. She's just mostly much better at everything. Yeah. But it was Mo's. I think she started it in 2019. It's called Come Out, Come Out, and it is about people's coming out stories. And it was on Audible, and then she decided to like be lazy or whatever during the pandemic, and she was like, "Oh, I'm having a kid," or something dumb like that, and then it kind of fell off. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, cool, what a role model." And then she wanted to pick it up again, and I feel like tricked me into co-hosting with her.
Probably.
Yeah, and so now we're doing a new kind of like version of it.
Okay.
But similar, basically the same concept.
Got it.
Same concept, yeah.
Okay. And so people come, do you guys seek out, or do you folks seek out people, or do people come to you and say, "Hey, I'd love to tell this story on," like, is it a mix? Because I find getting guests is a really tough.
It is, yeah. For the most part, yeah, we seek out. What am I saying? No one's like knocking our door down. But now that it's been out for, I don't know, a couple months or something, people have will DM us about their stories, and it's fucking awesome.
I was going to say,
honestly.
that's kind of lovely. Like, you get to read all those stories. That's really lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the podcast. And then at the end, we'll give out your socials and see where people can see you.
You say you
and
give
get in
out my
touch with
social
you.
security number?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, your mother's maiden name and your first pet.
Yep.
Okay. Well, folks, this won't be getting any better. We hope you enjoyed your apps. We're going to go on to the entrees after a quick break. It's going to be a long break. Okay. Now,
a break where you run out. Never
I
come
literally
back.
was going to say, like, well, that's a wrap. We got like 20 minutes. We're good. They get the idea. Okay, so I know you're a diehard fan of the podcast and you've listened to every episode. So I don't need to explain this to you.
Nope.
But I will. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed your app. Oh, no, I already said that. Jesus.
That was my fault.
We're
sorry.
back. No, it's okay. We're back, and now it's time for the entrees. Okay, so the entrees, this is the questions. You know this part because you love the podcast.
Yep.
So the question you already know is coming. What was your first job ever where the government was taking taxes out of your?
I wear this job with a badge of pride. My first job ever was at Blockbuster Video.
What?
Yeah.
Shout out to Carl Tart, former guest of the podcast, who's on Netflix's version of Blockbuster.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Dude, I saw that.
He's the best human ever. He beats both of us. So shout out Carl. So I didn't know that's what you were going to say, and now I have 6,000 questions. But you go ahead. So tell me, so Blockbuster, where?
It was a Blockbuster in Lake Oswego, Oregon.
Is that where you're from, Oregon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I was 15 years old. The year was 1995. Don't worry about it. That's how old I am.
Don't do the math.
You know what? I was going to watch that show, but I was really hoping that they were going to represent Blockbuster in the way that it was appropriate, you know?
Which would have been?
Just making sure that, your new releases were lined up, the returns were rewound. You had to do that shit by hand. Not by hand, but in the machine.
Wait, so what would you do if someone, the Please Be Kind rewind thing, would you fine people if they didn't rewind, or how did that work?
I would. Just kidding. No,
You're like
barely spoke. No. No, you just you'd toss them in the little rewind. Do you remember the little VHS rewinders?
The auto that you'd put it in the thing? Yes.
Yeah.
Our neighbors had one.
It was a one-trick pony. You put it in, it rewinds. That's all it does.
That's all it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so but at 15, I feel like, was that legal working age?
No, I shouldn't have been working.
So how did it happen?
Can we get my parents on the phone, please?
Yes. Beep, boop, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, no, I was, or maybe I was 16, but I was 15. I think it probably was,
No, some states working, all you would have to do after 13 years old was just have your parents say, I allow this child labor to happen.
Yeah.
Essentially.
This is amazing. Because, my parent was there was no option. It was just cool, well, it's summer now and you're going to work.
100%.
100%. I was like,
find something to do, as they say.
Yeah, I don't feel like I like that. I don't like how that sounds, but I guess, sure. Yeah.
Wait, so they hire your quiet, introverted self to so were you, what would you have set, sales associate? I mean, what's the job?
Yeah, I think customer service rep, just your classic customer service rep. It was, and unfortunately, my friend Justin Burge was also hired, same age as me. And then my friend Grant Williams, who was 1 year younger than me, was also hired. And the three of us were the biggest gaggle of boobs you've ever seen. And I feel like we probably were all just yes, of course, absolutely. And good day to you during the interview. And then we were just I don't know what's up. It was a fucking disaster.
Wait, who got hired first?
I think we actually all got hired at the same time because we were opening. It was a new store in this little what do you call it? Shopping area.
Yeah, shout out to one of my best friends, Lita. She and I applied for a job together, and we just kept our fingers crossed. We're like, this will be the most fun thing ever if we got to work together. And we did, and shame on them. They should have never done that, but they did. That's the best when you're a teenager, and you're just I just want more time with these humans I get to be myself with.
Yeah.
That's such a fun gig.
I just sorry, we'll get into it, but.
No, get there.
Just basically the setup of the store was, it would, your classic counter and then the rows of videos. And then in the back, there was it was clearly an office with a two-way mirror kind of a thing.
Of course.
And the manager's name was Marianne, and she put up with our shit beautifully. I don't know how old she was. She's a timeless whatever. But Grant and I would do this thing where we would call Marianne in the office. We'd be like, hey, Marianne, can we have a question? Can you just look out at the front desk really quickly? And then I would be leaning against one counter and he would be leaning against the opposite counter. And he would throw his legs up over my shoulders. And we thought that was like the funniest thing we had ever seen. And then she would laugh, and then our job was done.
That's all you needed.
Yeah. As you know, our job actually wasn't done. We actually hadn't done our job at all.
At all.
Not a single bit. Yeah.
So she giggled, and that was like,
she did. Yeah, she did.
Please
indeed.
do your job.
Oh my God.
Wait, so they trust a gaggle of 15-year-old crows. They're like, you guys are good, so stay in the front.
It was me and 2 boys, actually.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, and that they were just like, okay, do your thing. So you were hired knowing you were going to have to rewind videos, chat with people. What were the like?
And check them out,
that was it.
And rent movies and shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did this Blockbuster video have a special section that people could go into?
No, it didn't. Sadly, that was best kept for Captain Video over there on the other side of town.
Wait, is that real?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not work there? Because you probably weren't legally allowed.
Well, yeah, probably. Especially not in the place with the beads that you pull apart to enter. You know what I mean? That sounded, Neat. No, there wasn't. But there definitely, when Mo and I have talked about this too, there were definitely like the kind of like very small gay and lesbian, they called it, sections, where I would just like walk past blindly, and I was like, I shouldn't look over there, but I don't know why. I don't want to, but I do, but I don't,
Oh,
yeah.
That's a sad story.
I'm so sorry to bring it down.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it happy. Okay, so Blockbuster Video is your first job. How was that? Just summer to summer? Like they hired you as just a summer job?
Yeah,
Because it's weird to me when these places that are open year round. I mean, I got hired for summer work too, and I'm like, how do they do that? Like
I don't know, but I know that they were staffing. They were like, they needed more people because they were opening the store. So we had to do like one-time tasks that we would later never do, like stocking the shelves and putting shit away and like inventory and what have you. And also, I think it was inventory once a month, and that started after the store had closed, which was like 11:30. And my mom, PM. My mom was like, Joey, there's no way that I'm letting you do that. You are 15 years old. And I was like, okay, well, all the other kids. And she was like, I don't care what the other kids are doing. So she would come by and she would pick me up. I basically had a note from my mom being like, sorry, I can't stay.
You got a good mama. That's
go
so
home.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a good deal. Okay. And
it killed me. I wanted to stay
of course,
so badly.
Because you're with your friends.
Yeah. And I didn't want to look like a dick,
Okay, when you were there, would you get to decide what movies were played like in the store whilst you were there?
Oh, my God. Well, technically, no. It was supposed to. This actually is bringing back memory, and I don't know if you ever came across this, but it was like basically a sampler that we would play. So it was just like a bunch of trailers of like new releases on loop, though. So like you would hear, God, what the fuck was coming on? Like
A League of Their Own?
like the Devil's Own or some shit, and it was just like over and over and over, and then there was music in between.
Oh, that would make me crazy.
It was. Did I mention that I play by ear and I hear all the? It was like a certain kind of torture.
Note. Oh,
it was a certain kind of torture.
God.
Yeah.
Would you go home and just like match it on the piano?
I'd try not to pass away when I went home.
I mean,
yeah, match it on the piano. I first became interested in film scoring from the
the torturous job I had at
Blockbuster
15 years
sizzle
old.
reel from 1995.
Shout out to Blockbuster in Oregon. Okay, so you do that summer to summer.
I do it summer to summer. Yeah. And then, I guess, and then I just went to college or something.
You tricked them into letting you in.
I did. Yeah.
How many customer service jobs would you say you've had total? Oh, wait, don't answer that yet.
Okay.
At Blockbuster, was there ever a time where people got like emotional about a movie not being there or something? You're nodding. It's good. It's an audio medium.
It's all kind of like meshing into one, but people were pissed. They would be pissed because they wouldn't. Usually it was because like you would get the old movies that were like a 7-day rental, no problem.
I forgot about the limits. If it's a new release, you only get it for what, 2, 3,
one fucking
one day?
Some of them were 1, some of them were 2, I think.
Oh, what a different time.
And then you could call and be like, hey, do you have this movie in? And if not, when's it coming back? And so then people would call. You could put it like you could hold it for them. And if you held it for and that fucking thing wasn't there, and especially in like Oswego, Oregon, by God, you better watch out.
Wait, for real?
Yeah. They would
would just scream at some 15-year-old for something you couldn't control?
That's correct. Now, I will say that there were a few times when I put it on hold and forgot to put it on hold. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, maybe I messed up. Who can remember? Let's not split hairs, but yeah.
Okay, so when you were doing that, what would they would come in and they'd be like, you told me this movie was going to be here. And like, so was it because the proximity of where that Blockbuster was such a hike for some people?
You know what it was, Kate Gaffney? I think it was more the general vibe of Lake Oswego, Oregon at that time.
Oh, I got to know.
Which is a very homogenous, white, affluent community. And they wanted their coffees and they wanted them now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Listen, everyone who lives in Lake Oswego, God bless. And you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And there's a lot more. There's a touch more diversity there, now. Yeah. But, and also like, I feel like it's easy to take it out on a kid, kind of. I feel like adults, because we really, when you look at pictures of 15-year-olds, that didn't come out right. But like, they're so little.
They're babies.
They're so fucking young,
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
I just can't imagine. Can you imagine losing it on? I can't imagine losing it on a 15-year-old at 15.
No,
like, I can't. It's like also over movies.
I know.
This is what this podcast was born out of. Was people just losing it for stupid shit?
Yeah, but also like there was no anything else. Like there was no net. There was no stream. It was like that was your entertainment.
Yeah.
And if you like had a family evening planned and it was fucked, then you're fucked.
And now you got to deal with your kids.
You got to deal with your kids. You got to talk to your husband who you hate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like torture.
Because you're gay, probably. Let's be real.
Talk. Okay. So, how many customer service jobs? Well, I keep trying to ask this question, but then I think of more. Okay. With Blockbuster, though, was there some sort of policy of like, okay, new releases have to be on this particular shelf for this long? So you would have to rotate stock.
Yeah. Well, it was more like there was a new release wall,
of course.
But we would have to make sure that like the bottoms of the boxes were pulled out at like a rakish 35-degree angle or whatever, and just make sure. And then also, of course, my friends would come in and fuck with me, and they would just go boom, 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 and like push them all in because they were dicks.
God.
But I mean, I would have done the same thing,
Yeah,
it's
a good get.
Yeah, it was the first time that I learned how to say the word rendezvous, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a movie called Rendezvous in Paris, and oh no, Kate, fucking know what it was? People would get pissed because they would go to check out a movie and they would have movies that were late or they had a late fee and you couldn't check it out until you paid the late fee.
Sure, of course.
And that's when shit got heated, and that's when Marianne had to come on down from the two-way mirror office and take care of business. It was great.
And what say to them like, oh, we're sorry.
She was the absolute queen of calm. It was incredible. She was, they would be like, I need you to, this is ridiculous. They would just like fly off the handle, and she was like, okay, I totally hear what you're saying. What would you like me to do? What can I do to make this better? Like everything that you're supposed to do as a customer service person, she was crushing. We would all just stand there and be like, yeah, Marianne.
You think you could tag her in? Or
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she'd come fix it. Then would these people inevitably pay because they wanted the movie?
Yeah.
So why make it to and wasn't it only like $2-3 bucks?
Yeah,
like you lose and you look like an ass.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll ask it. How many customer service jobs have you had total?
I think you're looking at 6.
Wow. Okay, what were they?
Oh shit! Hold on, so I wrote it down and I missed one entirely.
So 7?
Yeah, no, that was 6 that I just thought of. Okay, so Blockbuster, and then the summer before I went to college, I worked at G.I. Joe Sports and Auto, which no longer exists, but was basically like a Dick's Sporting Goods.
What? I gotta know what that training was like, and did y'all sell guns?
Yeah. And there were some guns up in that piece.
Did you because you were probably too young, you wouldn't be able to sell them?
Certainly not. No, I was 17 years of age, and I worked in athletic shoes, for which I was absolutely not qualified.
So why did you pick athletic shoes?
I didn't have a choice. And also, like, I was playing sports, and I was like, well, that's a great fit. Sure. I can throw a ball. I can sell a shoe. Not a problem.
Same skill set.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you attracted to working there because you were like, I play sports, so this just makes sense?
I thought you were going to say, were you attracted to any of your coworkers? And I was like, yes, and we dated.
Well, I'm so sorry. Don't answer the question I just asked. Answer that question. So tell me about that.
Well, so do you remember when Ticketmaster? I don't have no fucking idea how old you are, but
I'm 25.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Wow, that's so funny. I thought you were 26. I thought you were 26.
You're so rude.
I'm so sorry. I'm like
not saying it on the mic
now.
I'm not saying it on the mic. Go.
What was I saying? Oh, there used to be there was a Ticketmaster inside the G.I. Joes. So it was like if you needed to
to sell tickets. That's such a weird combination.
Well, they were like little outlets inside inside your Sears or like your Macy's, or they had like a little like booth basically.
Was that unique to Oregon, or is
No.
this really?
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
not
yeah.
know that this was a thing.
I think it ended being a thing like in the early 2000s maybe.
That's so it's something I should know. It's so interesting. I don't remember ever seeing that. So were you attracted to working at the Ticketmaster booth then, or you were like,
No, Kate Gaffney. What happened was Jacob, whose last name I don't remember, started kind of like, I would walk by and he would make jokes, or he'd be like, hey cutie. And I'd be like, oh, and he was like, I'm sorry, I was talking to myself. And I was like, hey, Jacob.
nice.
He had no idea that was catcher bait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make fun of me. And
That's in.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we dated, but with Ticketmaster, it was like I spent nights in line for tickets outside, because the tickets would like go on sale
At a certain time.
And there was simply no other way to get the tickets other than like physically being there in person.
Sure.
So you would like camp out.
Oh, it's a simple, like when you think back on those times, isn't it kind of like, like it was a hassle, I guess, but there
Yeah.
was more community bonding because stuff
my
wasn't
God.
easy to get.
Yeah. You become pals with the people in front of you and behind you. And
it's like the REI sale now, how people camp out for that, like the annual sale or whatever. Oh yeah. Well, at least in St. Louis, it was a big deal. Anyway, but go back to, Jacob is flirting with you.
right. Jacob's flirting with me.
Is this whilst you're already employed at G.I. Joe's?
It's whilst I'm already employed, and it's your classic straight boy lesbian romance where the lesbian doesn't know she's a lesbian. Yeah, that was my last foray into the anyone owning a penis. Yeah,
owning one. I'll die.
dick parade.
I will die. That is what I said. Wait, so he's flirting with you, but so you're already employed. But
Yeah.
why would? Because you're definitely not answering my question, so I want to go back.
I'm so sorry. What is your question?
Well, what made you pick working there?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I have no fucking idea. Probably the other reason is because you could buy lift tickets. I was a big snowboarder in high school, and you could buy lift tickets also at G.I. Joe's. And so, like, I was kind of just, like, in and around there. Like, I was sporting around. I was buying concert tickets. I was buying lift tickets. And it was just like...
Why don't I work here?
Yeah, and I think they were hiring, and just, who knows, it kind of made sense, whatever.
No, that actually... I mean, proximity is such a big thing when you're a teenager, too, because you're like,
Yeah.
if I'm not driving, my parents aren't about to give me, like, fucking a ride that's an hour away.
Yes,
I get that.
totally. Yeah, I think it was like a 12-minute ride from my house or something.
No, that's a great detail. I'm so glad you shared that.
You want to know what? You know what? I know that you're glad that I shared that. And the other detail that I'm going to share is that at that time in my life, I had a pager.
No, you didn't.
Right on my hip.
Yeah.
And Jacob would text me little at symbol, just to like make a rose. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yep.
Jacob. Have we seen Jacob? Does Jacob?
No. And I will say that Jacob and I would. He was a wrestler in high school and also a skateboarder, which was, he was a real cutie. And we would like wrestle around. Which, if that wasn't a sign, I simply don't know what is.
For him too, though.
Well, I mean,
who knows?
For anyone who's paying attention at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, no, I haven't talked to him since like my freshman year of college.
He's like, I get to make out with my best guy friend. This is the best shit ever. And you're like, do I like this? I'm not sure I like this.
No, I was like, why do I want to spit after we're done making out?
We're going to get derailed. Okay. So G.I. Joe's, I will never call it by its full name because I just want to keep saying G.I. Joe's. So you start working there. Are you doing that simultaneously with Blockbuster?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So go back to your list. So so Blockbuster was 1, G.I. Joe's is 2.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay, right. Do you want these in like chronological order?
I mean, that'd be ideal, but nobody's going to be able to fact check it. So
I'm probably missing one, but then I went to college, and then like being a summer camp like coach doesn't count.
Oh,
right?
I count it.
Does it?
Parents are fucking nightmares.
Yeah. It was actually a great job. I worked for Skyhawks sports camps, and I started as a coach. You could be a coach or director, and if you're a coach, you have your little group, and you're there from like whatever 8 to 3. And if you're a director, there's one director per camp, and you fucking pull up the lawn chair and you just watch all the coaches do grueling work all day. And that was the move. So I was doing that during summers between college like semesters or whatever.
I want to point out you are the only other guest that I've spoken to that did day camp directing, and I did it in downtown St. Louis after college, and I got screamed at by people who didn't look like me about a lot of things, and I cried almost every day at that
Oh my
job.
God.
I hated it.
I'm so sorry.
No, thank you. I want to make this about me. But
what's new?
I
What's
love that you loved it and that you got to just kind of ghost.
It was cool. Also, it was like a real hotbed of lesbian activity. You know?
Was it really?
Yeah. And I wasn't out at that time, but like, you know, like we would go, I went to the intro meeting basically. I was just looking around and I was like, oh, these girls are like me in a way. And I don't know what way that is, but something feels familiar. Truly. I was just like, oh, they're like sporty. Like they strut around.
They
You know
like
what I mean?
lacrosse and short hair. What's the fucking, who cares?
Yeah, totally.
Wait, how, not that this is about that, but like,
They
when
smirk,
did
they
you,
lean, all the telltale signs of a homosexual. Yeah.
when did you realize, when were you like comfortable in that identity? Or when did you know this is not about that, but I'm just
No,
curious.
it's fine. I mean, when I was participating in queer things versus when
Cunnilingus, you were like, I guess I'm into this.
I was like, versus like when I actually came out, there's like a year or two discrepancy there. But
That's okay. Nobody's fact checking.
Yeah. No, I
right.
was 21.
Oh, that was late in the game.
Yeah. It was
Aw.
pretty late.
Okay, I'm gonna say 6 more times and make. I'm really.
Well, there was no. Can I ask you a question?
No.
Okay. No. Live your life.
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, are you worried about time? Like, am I
You're so
taking
sweet.
too long?
No, this is actually okay. Are you okay to do 2 hours then?
Sure.
Okay, great. This is actually perfect because I can pace it.
Yeah.
And I want to hear all these stories.
They're not great.
They're not, but it's time filler. I just need guests, so it's fine. Okay, so where were we at?
We were talking about me being gay because you are like obsessed with my life story.
That's
I
right.
guess. So
Okay, wait, gay, but before gay, you were camp directing.
Skyhawks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said the normal trajectory was go from coach to director.
Yes.
Was that in between 2 summers, or was that same summer that they were like, "Yo, we see potential somehow in you"?
I don't remember. I did not take very long. I really did like coaching though. I loved
Did
coaching
you?
the little nubs because they were so cute and just like we all kind of had like the same level of intellect and intelligence and general
And that's still
maturity.
True. Yeah, that's still true.
And that's still the
Yeah.
case, to
Yeah.
be sure. Yeah.
So what were you coaching specifically? A sport you already played?
Oh, great question. Great question,
Again,
Kate Gaffney.
I'm good at
Well,
this.
I started coaching soccer because I played soccer. And then what happens is they'll throw in a unit like roller hockey. Now, can I skate? Fuck no. And so I had to come up with a story. It was like, Coach, why aren't you skating? I'm like, oh, like I broke my ankle when I was like
5.
Yeah, no, like last week when I was like competing, so I got to stay off it. But here's a really intense like obstacle course that you need to do 50 times. So then at lunch, you'll shut the fuck up and fall asleep, basically.
Just tiring them out.
It really, I was like,
You're
let's
like-
play Indy 500. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like,
running.
you just fucking skate your ass around the parking lot. Yeah.
Okay, so your trajectory is so then you moved to director.
Yeah.
And this is post college, during college. Where are we?
This is during college, but it's like in the summertime.
In the summers. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so that's job 3.
That's job
We have
3.
3 more. What are the other 3?
Yeah. The other, we're just done with, okay.
I don't care that much.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair
I
enough.
have more questions about the camping, but
This is actually, there's actually 7. Okay, so, also during during school, not during summer, there were a couple different restaurant jobs that were kind of concurrent because I got fired from some of them.
Okay, don't tell me the firing story yet, because that's a question later.
Okay.
Let's just go through the list, because
Okay.
there's more questions to come. So keep.
Okay.
Because you're a fan of the podcast, so you already know this, so it's a little uncomfortable that I have to keep explaining this,
I know.
but it's okay.
I'm
This is-
so incredibly sorry.
You've listened to
But
all
what I do
100
like is the
episodes.
sound of your sultry voice, so I like to hear it as much as I
Such a
can.
wise ass.
Yeah. Okay,
Give me
so I worked at Round Table Pizza for a second. I worked at the Parkway, which is a wine and beer bar in Tacoma, Washington. This is all in Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
I worked at E9, Engine House 9, a bar in Tacoma.
Okay.
And then I worked at the Spar, SPAR, also like a bar restaurant kind of place. Oh my God. And I also worked at Porter and Stouts. How could I fucking forget Porter and Stouts? Oh, fuck. And then I also worked for 1077 The End as a world famous modulator. Jesus Christ. How did I forget about that?
Wait.
Yeah.
What the fuck's a modulator?
Yeah, that's a great question. It still doesn't make any sense. It's basically like the radio station's street team.
Oh my
is what it
God, you
was.
were probably so much fun. Okay.
It wasn't great.
Wait. Okay, so we have that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if we count so I'm counting 9.
Yeah, I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 9.
Okay.
Yep.
So, dear God, I have so many questions. Okay, at the bar jobs that you had, were you bartender, server? What were you there?
I was
the hype man that would just tell people to sit down, shut up.
Okay. I was at the Parkway. I was a bartender, and it was just beer and wine.
Are you talking yourself into these jobs, or would you lie about experience? Because I think because my restaurant experience is based out here, and I had to murder puppies to be able to get any kind of restaurant job out here. Were you just like, hey everybody, I'm so fun, I'm Mozart.
Yeah.
Can I just compose music and bartend? Or how do you do that?
That's a great question. Well, it might shock you to know that the job market in Tacoma, Washington is not as cutthroat as it is in Los Angeles. So it was not as difficult as you may think. And also, I mean, this was in 2000 probably, or 1999 or something like that. And I have no fucking idea how I got that job. Probably I think I probably at some point was just going from place to place being like, hey, are you hiring? And I would fill out an application, but it was one shift a week, It was the Sunday night shift, which was fun. Which
it's a dope shift, actually. I like working Sunday nights at a restaurant.
Yeah. But that's the only place where I bartended, and the other places were kind of pub, restaurant, pub grub kind of places.
Serving or bartending?
Serving.
Excuse me.
Those were all serving jobs.
Okay. These were concurrent with college, or did you after college? Okay.
These are all within the confines of the college era.
Okay, but so some of these were in New York then. Oh no, that's master's.
Yeah.
Your undergrad was in Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay. What was your favorite of all of those jobs?
Of every single one we've talked about?
Yes. I don't care about what you do now.
Understood. Yeah, totally. I would say Blockbuster's up there.
Really?
Yeah, Blockbuster was so fun. It was so fun. And then I would say working for The End, the radio station, had its moments. I really liked bartending though. It was so fun because especially on Sunday nights, you just get your regulars who came in and you were just,
So to be clear, I'm not going to get a straight answer with that. It's just a bunch of jobs tied for first.
So Blockbuster was my favorite.
Thank you.
Yep.
I need to know about modulator.
Okay.
How?
Yeah. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a word that they decided to associate with the street team. And you would hear, they would talk about, I don't even know if they exist anymore, but it would be come to Enfest, and if you find one of our world famous modulators, you can get a t-shirt if you say this, so we're
That's fun. That's so fun.
That kind of, you would have been not good actually at that. You would have been fucking great at that. It was just
I would have it's so funny. I shat the bed on an interview in San Diego for a radio job doing essentially this because I went all buttoned up. I wrote this ridiculous email to get the job, and then I go in for the interview and I was so buttoned up, and they were all in jeans and t-shirts, and I was in business casual and I kept it so stiff, and I was like, why didn't I get the call back? It's because I was a stiff asshole. That's why I did. Wait, I want to read the definition of modulator according to the Googles.
Okay.
A modulator is an electronic circuit that superimposes a low frequency signal onto a high frequency signal for the purpose of wireless transmission. So that's what you did for the radio. That's what
I did for the radio. That is a word that comes up in the music industry. Yeah. Different kinds of modulation. There is, I'm so sorry, Kate Gaffney. There's actually one more job.
Jesus. And this is what happens though. Everybody does this. So you're up to 10.
But here's the thing is it's not a customer service job.
Well, tell me what it is.
I was a teacher assistant, and then I was teaching kids music. I was a music teacher for elementary school.
1,000% customer service. Again, anywhere where you have to deal with parents. Because I feel like there's a customer that oversees and you have to interact and justify your existence.
Yeah.
That to me is customer service. And you are, I mean, I guess the students are the customers, but it's really the parents on their nightmare.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you love it?
Fucking loved it. I would be doing it right now if I didn't have a freak out when I was 22 years old.
Wait, what was the freak out about?
I was just I'm 22 and I love this job, but I simply can't do that. I'm going to wake up and be 60. And it was a whole thing. And then I was I'm going to go to grad school. And then I applied to one place And I was like, if I get in, I'm going. And if not, then something else. And then I got in and I was like, well, I guess this is the trajectory now.
I guess I'll just take this weird acceptance as this tiny school no one has heard of that won't change my life at all. I'll do them a favor and grace myself with. Okay.
I think you need to like understand that the Steinhardt School of Education, which is where my program was, music technology, the sexiest of all graduate programs, what you're thinking of is like Tisch. You're thinking of Stern.
Yeah.
You're thinking of places where memories are made.
Yeah.
Steinhardt is where nightmares are made.
Okay.
You know, it's a different thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Still hard as fuck to get into. This is like someone sitting across from me being like, well, I got into Harvard because, you know, it's just the degree that I have doesn't really matter. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we could.
We should do this off the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are teaching children. You freak out.
Yeah.
So at 22, then you come to LA. When does LA music?
No, I come
composing
to. I'm still in Tacoma. By the way, the school is called Annie Wright. They are incredible. It's like pre-kindergarten all the way up through senior in high school. And
They must have loved you because
we
just
had a fucking
party
great time
all the time.
And it was a boarding school for the high school kids, and it was all girls, freshman through senior, and it was really lovely, and it was so picturesque. It was gorgeous. It was like this huge grand building, brick building overlooking the Puget Sound. It was like an insane school. It was great. Yeah.
Okay, so you do that, but you freak out. You come to, so then when does, so you go to NYU.
Yes.
Then is directly from NYU to come to LA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you get customer service jobs when you first came out here?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Did you already have your company at that point?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Why am I interviewing you?
Oh, you've had to have so much hard work at customer service.
Yeah.
A successful business at 22.
Yeah.
You?
Well, yeah, I would say most things fell right into my lap. It was really quite easy.
Well, how easy
I didn't
is
have to
white?
work really at all.
Okay. So your favorite is Blockbuster.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite of the now 10, but probably more than that jobs that you've had?
I would say Porter and Stouts, which is
Why?
Well, because it was my first time like really working in a restaurant.
Speak to it, girl.
Yeah.
Speak on it.
Yeah, and the people there were really mean. The cooks were absolute shitheads.
Please elaborate on this because people think I'm making this up when I say if you piss off the cooks and you will not even know what you've done,
Yep.
you may have done nothing.
Yeah.
But if you piss them off, your life as a server or bartender is forget about it.
I had no idea. And my best friend and I, aka my first girlfriend, got this job together. What happened is like we applied for a job at this like very beautiful fine dining restaurant called the Lobster Shop, right on Ruston Way, right on the water. And they were like, absolutely not. But we would love to ship you to way out into a place where you'd never be seen nor heard. Please go there. And we were like, okay.
How good does that feel?
It felt really, really good.
It's a warm hug.
Yeah, it felt really good.
Nice.
So it was just like this other place that they own called Porter and Stouts, which is basically just like, and we walked in there and it was everyone had been going there since like 75, you know, and everyone was like, why don't you know my order? I want Roquefort dressing. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
I hate that shit.
You know,
I
come on.
hate that shit.
Yeah.
It's like, and you can tell that I'm new. If you've been coming here since 75, you have never seen my face before.
Totally.
Just tell me.
I mean, and they're like, put the game on. We always watch the game. I was like, what game? What game? And I don't even know where the remote is. There's a lot of logistics that go into this. It was a whole stressful.
I hate that shit.
But the cooks, yeah. So I was working there, but also working at the radio station at the same time.
Ooh, you
And-
don't like sleep.
And I did. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking really, and as soon as they found out that my friend and I were working at the radio station and I could get our hands on like T-shirts and CDs and shit, wow, were they so much nicer. It was like night and day.
Are you talking about the regulars or the cooks?
The cooks, I'm sorry, the cooks.
So what happened with the cooks initially? They were just icing you out because you were new?
Yeah, pretty much. And I think one time I asked for like, you know, like a side of something and they like didn't have it. And I was like, I don't know, something like I pissed them off. Also, like, I didn't know what they were like something's 86. And I was like, what does that mean? And that was the wrong question to ask. You know, I just didn't know.
Because you're not a lifer. And I think sometimes people get defensive that are lifers in restaurants. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just...
I'm sure. And to be fair, I was, you know, 20 probably, and I'm sure like a fucking idiot, you know.
But also, why is it hard to be nice to new people? I don't get it. Like, I've been hazed at so many jobs.
Dude, I was just talking to my friend about this. I'm not going to tell you what we call it, but yeah, when there's a group of people who, you know, you go to a party even, and they just look up and then they just look back down. I can't even imagine not being like, hey, how's it going?
Acknowledge it. They're a
You know?
fucking human in front of you. It
Right.
makes me homicidal.
Yeah.
I want to jump in though quickly because we could keep going forever and ever. And we're going to pause this episode for right now. We're going to come back next week because there's more stories to tell. And as you know, as a longstanding fan of the podcast, there's more questions to be asked that you already know the answer to.
And those are the ones I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that you've prepped for.
Yep.
So for now, Joanna, how can people see you live? How can people do you want people to follow you on the socials?
Sure.
Okay. Give us all the info.
If you're interested in the podcast that I host with Mo Welch, comedy's Mo Welch, it is come out on Instagram. What else was I supposed to say?
So your live shows.
Oh my God, right. Sorry. And then I co-host a live comedy show in Los Angeles with my friend, Music's Nico Turner. And that is Hot Goss Comedy LA. And that's once a month, last Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
Fun time.
Okay, so that's how they can find you in LA.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we're going to drop your checks now. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us out here at Service from Hell, we'd love to have you subscribe, rate, and or review the show wherever you listen. But you're listening on SiriusXM right now, and we really appreciate that. It will help us reach more people that need to be schooled on the art of being kind. It will be catharsis for those of us still working in the industry. If you want to get in touch with us here at Service from Hell directly, send us your receipts. Isn't that clever?
Yep.
To servicefromhellpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, if you can't afford a tip, you can't afford to go out. So don't be garbage and be good to people. It's easier that way. Thanks for being on, Joanna.
Thank you so much for having me.
See you all next week for part 2.
Is this fine? How's this going? Is this
So
fine?
good. It's so good.
Okay.
Yes, you're doing so great.
Am I okay?